Hello and welcome back. This should be real quick. I'm on my lunch break, and then it goes dark again because the TV's so bright behind me. Shucks. I'm back again. Hello. I'm going to apologize. I want to kind of try to go back to my manliness video, as silly as that sounds. I didn't really summarize very well what I was talking about. I want to do that very quickly. I had my 4 points: faith, love. Oh, shucks. I was trying to find them where I'd written them down. I listened to and watched the video again. But I had 4 points. They were all very pertinent to our daily lives as men. And basically what it comes down to is this, is that we need to make sure that in our daily lives with whoever we're dealing with, whether it's our parents, our spouses, our children, we need to still love who we're dealing with because they are family. They're your family. They're my family. And especially as fathers, if any of y'all guys happen to be watching these at all, it's good to be stern with your discipline, but not intimidating. Try not to be intimidating. Because we don't want our kids to hate us. We want them to love us. We want them to respect us. And that seems to be getting harder and harder to attain every day. And what helps me as a father, for the past while now, when I put my little boy to bed, I pray for him. I pray with him. And despite all the anxieties that he has as a little boy every day and in school and the difficulties of writing and reading, and he's having a hard time with it. He's getting better. But I think that helps bring a bond to us as well as Christ as well, and bring him into our lives and really try to help direct his behavior on a more Christian level, to let him know he cannot get away with what he is doing. But it really helps us bond as well. And I missed one night, and he was like, "Daddy, are you going to pray? Are you going to pray?" I'm like, "Well, I just don't have time." And I should have. I should have gone back in there and made time and prayed with him. And at first, I was just doing the Lord's Prayer. And just like these videos, as they've matured for the past, 3 years, I've gotten with him and, making sure things are directed towards our lives, to his life, his behavior, and trying to, bless what needs to be blessed and help him grow in the manner he needs to grow. Okay, I've gone 3 minutes on that. I didn't mean to. I did it in a trial for 1 minute. Oops. Okay, but this one real quick is going to be real quick. It's Ephesians 2, and I really want to talk about God's mercy, what that means to us, how it can work for us, and what is it and why. I have video recorded this once already, and it just didn't meld very well. I had the reckoning on. My character was in the back. This huge thing was going around. Looked like it was going around my head. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is almost comical. I was saying, a lot of the times. And I got to redo this again. This is just terrible. So, and I finally asked a question of myself. I was driving one day, and I thought, this is the glue. This is the glue to this video, to this message. As if God put it in my head and goes, this is what you're missing. So I'm about ready to take these sunglasses off. It's kind of hard to read them. Actually, started writing the whole thing out, but I didn't. Saved by grace, Ephesians 2. And I'm going to read verses 1 through 10. Shucks. Read with me. And you were dead in your trespasses and sins, in which you formerly walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air of the spirit that is now working in the sons of disobedience, Among them we too all formerly lived in the lusts of our flesh, indulging the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by nature children of wrath, even as the rest. But God, being rich in mercy, because of his great love with which he loved us, even when we were dead in our transgressions, made us alive together with Christ. By grace you have been saved, and raised us up with him, and seated us with him in the heavenly places in Christ Jesus, in order that in the ages to come he might show the surpassing riches of his grace and kindness towards us in Christ Jesus. For by grace you have been saved through faith, and not of yourselves. It is the gift of God, not as the result of works, that no one should boast. For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. Enter the sunglasses. Okay, now what we're trying to do with this is pretty simple. Is that, okay, I just read the whole passage, verse 1 through 10, right? Well, shucks. Now, of course, in 2:2, we formerly walked in accordance to the course of this world, earth, in sin. We all are in sin. We are living in a world of sin. But by his grace, we can be saved. How can we be saved? Through our faith. And it is his gift. What was his gift? The death and resurrection of his Son, Jesus Christ. Therefore, we can be saved. This is the will of God. That is how everything needs to be done. I almost left this on a certain level, but then it doesn't really play by itself. This is Panzer Dragoon Orta from the first Xbox. Not the X-Bone, not the 360, but the original Xbox. But anyway, because some of the levels are just gorgeous, and I really couldn't think of a game that dealt with grace in any manner of speaking. If my lighting keeps going dark and light, I apologize. But just like, you know, for by grace you have been saved through faith, and not of yourselves. We can't do it alone. We have to have him with us. We have to ask Christ in our heart. We have to be saved. And I just lost my place to James yet again. Okay. Anyway, and that's, we are created to do good works, but that's not how we are going to be judged. And that's what he's making a point here. Now, if I can find it again, here we go. In James 3, verses 5 through 11, I'm just going to hit a point or two. It's all about boasting. So also the tongue is though the tongue is a small part of the body, and yet it boasts of great things. Behold, how great a forest is set aflame by such a small fire. And the tongue is a fire, the very world of iniquity. No one can tame the tongue. It is a restless evil and full of deadly poison. Ow. No. But yeah, a lot of bad things have happened because of what people say. Now, I've always had a bit of the mentality, sticks and stones can break my bones, but names can't hurt me. And I've let a lot of things go past me. I don't let it get to me. I try not to keep chip on my shoulders, even though I sometimes do. But you know, that people's tongues, everybody, it says things you regret. And so we all have to watch ourselves. And going back to Ephesians 2, that's the whole point, is that we all come from sin. We were all having transgressions of all types, because we are on the earth. We live here. for the moment, though we are not of this earth, if you can believe that. But God, being rich in His mercy, because of His great love with which He loved us, that should be loves, that shouldn't be past tense, but which He loves us, even when we were dead within this world, sinning, He made us alive together with Christ, by grace with which you've been saved. Because that's the why. Why would God want to see us all saved? Because we are all sinning people. We are all sinning men, women, adults, and children. I mean, once under a certain age, you're pretty much innocent until proven guilty. No, I'm just kidding. For the most part, why? That's the big question. Why? Why would God say, I made this people, they're now clothed, they've now covered the earth, they're all sinners. Why would He want us back? Why would He give us grace at all? I'm trying to cover up a smile a bit there. That's the question. Want to know why? John 3:16. For God so loved the world, He gave His only begotten Son for us. He loves us so much. Instead of us having to do one little set of people, continually doing a yearly sacrifice for the high priest to go beyond one little room where the Ark of the Covenant used to be, to the Holy of Holies, Christ wiped all that away. To where we all, the entire world, can come to God through Christ, and we can be saved. We all can be saved. That is the whole point of this. That is how great His mercy is. Now, if you want to boast, how evil God's wrath is. Oh, was He the one that had the state flooded, or the state attacked by a hurricane? It's God's fault for blah, 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 for all this wrath, all this carnage? No, not exactly. Through acts of God, through the weather, we come closer. We get stronger. We may lose loved ones to all sorts of crazy antics of this sinful world. But it's only through God, it's only through Christ that makes us stronger. When we start boasting about the evils of the world and trying to blame it on God, that is entirely James 3, the whole part of boasting. That's the evil of your tongues talking. That's not Christ-like at all. Trying to blame something on God for your troubles or for someone else's troubles. Because God is love. God is mercy. This is not Old Testament times anymore. If God evolved, if God's will was such that He decided to change things and said, okay, what did he do with Moses? He gave us laws. He came through the burning bush, and whatever. And he gave the Ten Commandments. Oh shucks! I had them all written down, and it's just all disappeared. I don't know where it went. And thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not murder, thou shalt not covet your neighbor's whatever, thou shalt not have idols before me, thou shalt not use my name in vain, shall not, shall not, shall not. All the shall nots, the 10 things you shall not do, for the most part. And love your mother and father. The shall nots, well, God wanted to change all that. He wanted to add to it. He wanted to add His grace, add His mercy. That's the whole point of this. That after for so long, maybe, I don't know the mind of God. That's rain. I don't know the mind of God. what is His will to be done? Is the Bible itself everything that He willed from the beginning of time? Because Christ is listed as the Word from the very beginning in Genesis. How well it all plays out and falls on top of each other in very nice, neatly domino stacked way. I need to find it real quick. I apologize. I thought I had this marked, but it is John. Maybe I do have it marked. Yeah, John 1:17. For the law was given through Moses, grace and truth were realized through Jesus Christ. And that's why I was talking about the Ten Commandments. For the law was given through Moses. Here's your shall nots, okay? But the Ten Commandments didn't exactly give us grace. It didn't exactly give us faith. It didn't exactly show truth and what the truth was and what the truth can do in our lives, in our hearts, in our souls, our very core of our being. Christ, God had Himself in Christ come down for us and say, here's another commandment. Love your neighbor like yourself, as if you would like to be treated. The golden rule. He started adding all these new commandments. If your wife dies, you're still married to her. You know, if this happens, and this happens in death, in taxes, in you know, if give to Caesar what Caesar's, and give your love to God what's God's. You know. And everybody was like, their eyes were being opened. They were completely being taken aback. They couldn't believe, what are we hearing? These are not the Ten Commandments. These are something new. We've never heard this before. It was all brand new 2,000-something years ago. And that's the whole point. Christ was, how can I say this? He wasn't a teenager. He was in his 30s when he was doing all this for the most part. But he was like going against the grain. He was the teenager going against the cops in a very real way, so to speak. Not really, but just trying to help get the point across here of what he was rubbing all the Pharisees, all the priests. He was rubbing their fur the wrong way, and they did not like it. That's why they tried to get the king involved and say, hey, we want this guy dead. His followers are huge. He's taking them away from us. He's going against the grain. He's talking to women in public. He's doing this. He's doing that. You got to kill him. And the king didn't really, he's like, well, he's done nothing wrong that we can tell. But I'm sorry, I got way off track, and I lost Ephesians 2. But anyway, and that's the whole point of this, is His grace. Why? Because He loves us. God is love. And that's what He's done through Jesus Christ, His own Son. He was the ultimate sacrifice. And as Christians, people that, that love God, are we sacrificing our ground beef to be burnt for the Lord's grace, and to ask for His will and ask for His blessings? No, we eat to eat. We don't waste food, hardly. Well, we do. We are a wasteful people. But the point is that we're not doing sacrifices. We shouldn't be, because we have a new word. We have a new truth. The truth was always there. It wasn't very prominent, but now it is. He died. He predicted His death. He predicted His resurrection. Of course, I'm talking about Jesus. And no one else can do that. And because of that, that's how much grace He has on the world. When we extend and show our faith to the Lord above, when we exercise our faith, that's when wonderful things can happen. That's when His grace reigns on us. That's when we ask Christ into our life. You may not feel an immediate change. When you're dunked or baptized or sprinkled, You may not feel an immediate change, but in a way there is. Because you are new. Because you are now saved from the second death. You will be reborn, and that's what we all hope to be. Thanks to God's grace, which is just wonderful. His mercy is beyond bounds. His love is nothing, is not anything that we can imagine. So I guess I can stop right there. But read Ephesians 2 through again. Believe it or not, no homework this time. Wow. But Ephesians 2 to me is just that strong. And there were some other references I meant to make, but I think I got the point done pretty well. So, thank you for watching. This was a much better speech, preach, whatever that I did. This is the second take. Oh, my little daughter's got one of those. Maybe I should use that. Anyway, but thank you for watching Panzer Dragoon Orta, which is a great game. You know, look at it on YouTube. It's got some really good graphics considering how old it is. And have a blessed day. And like I said, reread Ephesians 2. And actually, 1 John 1:17, which was a part of that. But of course, then that's referencing the Ten Commandments. But, you know, have a great day. Thanks for watching. And golly. And praise be to God. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.